What happens to brand new cars that never get sold? It's one of the most common questions I get asked on this channel. People wondering what happens to all these new cars that never get sold. I come across 2023s that have been sitting on the lot for over 940 days. It's a huge issue with most of the domestic manufacturers, but really almost every brand has some sort of new old stock. It's become a new term in the industry, extremely common. And the craziest part about it is it never happened before 2020, where you had multiple year-old new cars not selling and for it to be this common. It's crazy. So what are these dealerships actually going to do to sell all this old inventory? Well, first you have to realize who's responsible for the inventory. Manufacturers build the vehicle, but because of franchise laws, they're not even allowed to sell directly to the public. So they have to go through third-party dealers. So the manufacturer sells the vehicle to the dealership and then it's the dealer's responsibility. But the manufacturer still has some. We'll get to that later. So most car dealerships will finance that inventory for 60 to 90 days with low interest through the floor plan. After that, the interest rate starts ticking up and it becomes pretty much a high interest loan sitting on their lot. They have to either pay it off or sell it quickly. And that's in the first 60 to 90 days. So they don't have a really long time to sell these vehicles until it starts adding up and costing a lot of money for the dealers. One of the first things car dealerships do is something called a spiff. It's like a bonus for salespeople. It'll be on a car that's been sitting for 500 days. They're going to say in the Saturday meeting, this car has a $500 spiff, show the car, try to get a customer into it, and then you're going to get $500 on top of whatever the commission is. Sometimes it's even $2,000 spiffs or $5,000 just because they're so desperate to sell that car. Another option dealerships have is using it in a service loaner program. So every car dealership now has service loaners pretty much for their loaner program. So vehicles are actually put in there and the manufacturer will actually pay the dealership to loan out those vehicles when it's serviced. Because you know if you buy a new vehicle, you're probably going to have to take it in and get it serviced. And it's very inconvenient, but luckily you might get a car to drive around for a little bit and some of those are old new stock sitting on the lot. And another option they have is sending it to a dealer-only auction. Now these are auctions that you cannot buy from because you have to have that dealer license in your state. This is where vehicles are sold at wholesale and they're sold very quickly and they're almost 100% chance to sell if we hit the mark in price. The problem is the dealer might not like the price that they're getting because the other dealer at the auction is going to see this car, it only has low miles, it's a 2023, oh, it's been sitting on their lot for 2 to 3 years. There's a reason it hasn't sold, so obviously they would want a huge discount and try to get it for pennies on the dollar. And the dealership would not get any of the finance because dealers can keep that inventory on their lot, lose money on the front end gross, because their goal would be to get the customer back into the finance box where they can sell warranties, add-ons, all that kind of stuff. So anytime they have to sell it outside of the dealership, it's a bad situation selling it at an auction. They don't just lose in the front end, they also lose in that finance department. Now this next option, most people would think dealers would do this from day one. This would be the first thing. Discount the dang vehicle properly. That's something that you would think they would do, but they almost hold off to the very end. And this is why the dealers have the oldest amount of inventory. Sometimes it's the greediest dealerships that have the oldest amount of inventory. 2023, they got the vehicle in maybe the end of 2022 and they were doing a market adjustment. But the market was starting to tone down then, so no one was paying market adjustments because the lots were full. But just a year prior to that, everybody was. It was crazy. Empty lots, people actually paying over MSRP, but that stopped very quick. But of course, there's a lot of greedy dealers that kept trying to get that market adjustment, so the car just kept sitting. And now 2.5 years later, they're finally discounting the vehicle properly. $20,000, $30,000 off, but it still ain't enough. Think about the issues the vehicle can have from sitting on the lot for that long. This video is sponsored by Lasfit. Lasfit offers high quality floor mats that fit your vehicle perfectly. They have raised edges, so if anything happens, they're gonna protect it. They're actually 3D scanned, so they fit your vehicle perfectly. And you can see the difference in protection from a standard floor mat to the actual Lasfit all-weather floor mat. Much more protection with that Lasfit all-weather floor mat. Whether you're keeping your current car or getting a new one, you want to go ahead and get some Lasfit all-weather floor mats. And one of the best parts is the price. They are priced much better than the competitors. And you can get 20% off if you click the link in the description and use TOM20. TOM20 for 20% off the Lasfit website. And you can buy with confidence. They have a hassle-free lifetime warranty and they also have great customer service. And a 90-day money-back guarantee. It's a good product at a good price. The links are in the description. Don't forget to use the discount code TOM20, and I want to thank Lasfit for sponsoring this video. video and supporting the channel. It's not good for vehicles just to be sitting. They're made to be driven. Hopefully it's getting its oil changed and all that stuff. New gas, tire rotation. There's a lot of things. Now this next one is pretty rare, but it's actually called a dealership trade. But a dealer will very rarely trade a vehicle that's been sitting for years. It has to be the same dealership to the same dealership. So like Ford to Ford or Chevy to Chevy, and they can trade vehicles together. It does get a little complicated with the floor planning, but most of the time they're all using the same company to floor plan, so it's pretty easy from that end. And it's all about transferring the debt of the cars. That's all it is, because dealers cannot buy these cars with cash. It would cost millions and millions of dollars to keep this inventory sitting outside. The only way they can do it is financing it. But when it's been sitting there for years, if they haven't paid it off already, it will cost them so much money in floor planning interest. But they can actually do that dealer trade if another dealer owes them a favor or something. It happens, but it's pretty dang rare. So dealerships have a few options, from offering a spiff to sending it to a dealer-only auction, putting it in the service loaner program, or what you would think they would do from day one, which is discount the vehicle properly. It's almost like some dealers are just allergic to do that, and no wonder. Those are the ones with the oldest amount of inventory, the most stubborn dealerships. Let it sit. Soon we're going to see 1,000-day-old inventory. You can go to Car Edge and go to your oldest inventory. You'll see all sorts of old inventory sitting around. Now, the one thing with the manufacturers is all this old inventory sitting around, when it's 2023s, 24s, they do start offering more rebates. So it will eventually hit the manufacturer if you wait long enough, because the manufacturer will actually start offering rebates with older year models when their dealers are stuck with 1,000 or 2,000 2023s across the United States. So the manufacturer will just offer an additional rebate for those older year models to try to increase sales, but you need dealer discounts, manufacturer discounts in order to sell all of this old inventory. Let me know what you guys think. Now you know what happens to new cars that never get sold. They're currently sitting now for 900, close to 1,000 days, and I don't know how much longer they're gonna sit. Let me know what you guys think. Have a great day and stay blessed.